Let's talk about a shift happening in software that's so big, people are comparing it to the invention of the compiler. I mean, the entire job description for a developer is being rewritten in real time, so we're going to break down what this actually means for you.
I want you to think back just a couple of years, to 2021. Doesn't feel that long ago, right? Back then, the big deal was AI as a kind of smart autocomplete. You'd be typing away and boom, it would suggest the next line. It felt like magic, like you had this little assistant sitting on your shoulder.
Okay, now let's jump to today. That same AI isn't just suggesting a line of code anymore. Oh no, it's reading bug reports, writing the fix, running all the tests, and then submitting a pull request, which is basically the finished code ready for a human to give it the final okay. It's shipping entire features independently. That jump is absolutely massive. So how on earth did we get here so fast?
Well, this whole journey from a simple autocomplete to full-on autonomy, it really happened in 5 distinct stages, or generations. And if you can understand this evolution, you'll understand exactly where the real value is for developers, both today and tomorrow.
It all started with Generation 1, kicked off by tools like GitHub Copilot. At its core, it was a prediction engine. Your role was basically a typist, just with a really smart assistant. But here was the bottleneck, and this is crucial. The AI had no idea what you were building. It was just guessing what word or character was most likely to come next.
Then came Gen 2, with the explosion of ChatGPT. Suddenly, you could just describe a problem and it would spit out an entire chunk of code. Your role shifted, right? You became a prompt engineer, copying and pasting. But the new bottleneck was integration. The AI was completely blind to your project structure, so it would hallucinate. It would literally just make up parts of your software that didn't exist, giving you code that was basically useless without a ton of editing.
Generation 3, with tools like Cursor, was a huge leap. For the first time, the AI could read your entire codebase. It could go in and change multiple files all at once to build a new feature. Your role leveled up. You became an architect, guiding its work. The problem? It was powerful, but it wasn't proactive. You still had to tell it to do every single thing.
And that brings us to today. Generation 4, what we're calling the Agentic mainstream. Your role now? You're an orchestrator. You define the goal, you set the finish line, and the AI agent just does the work. All that's left for you to do is review the final code it submits. And this creates a totally new and fascinating bottleneck. The limiting factor is no longer how fast the AI can work, it's how fast a human can review it.
So what made this massive leap possible? A couple of key breakthroughs. First, there's something called the Model Context Protocol, or MCP. The easiest way to think of it is as a universal translator. It lets the AI agent securely connect to and understand your specific project's databases, logs, everything. And that context is what allows for multi-step orchestration. You know, the ability to take a bug report and follow it all the way through to a finished fix. The results are wild. These agents are now solving about 3 out of every 4 real-world software problems all by themselves.
So, what's next? Well, get ready for Generation 5, Resident AI. This is where the AI literally lives inside your infrastructure, acting like a self-healing immune system. It's constantly monitoring, it spots an issue, finds the cause, patches it, and deploys the fix, sometimes before a human even knows there was a problem. Your role shifts again. You become a policy governor, just setting the high-level guardrails on things like security and budget.
When you actually see the timeline laid out like this, the acceleration is just mind-blowing. We went from a simple autocomplete tool in 2021 to fully autonomous agents just 3 years later. With every single generation, the AI takes on more and more, and the human's role fundamentally changes along with it.
And looking at all the generations side by side like this, you can really see the pattern, can't you? Your focus goes from the nitty-gritty of syntax in Gen 1 to feature architecture in Gen 3, and now to high-level goals and orchestration in Gen 4. And the bottleneck just evolves right alongside it, from how fast you can type to how fast you can think strategically.
So this entire evolution has given birth to a completely new kind of role, what we're calling the orchestrator. It's a move away from being a typist inside the machine to being the director of the entire shell.
And look, this isn't just a theory. It's already reshaping the biggest companies in the world. Microsoft's CEO, Satya Nadella, described this exact shift. His full-stack builder is basically just the industry name for the orchestrator. Because the AI can handle all the implementation details, a single person can now direct the entire process that used to take 4 different specialists.
This is the key mindset shift.
The typist worries about how to write the code, the syntax, the right algorithm, that kind of thing. The orchestrator is totally focused on what to build and, even more importantly, why. The actual writing of the code becomes something you direct, not something you do.
Okay, so if you're going to be directing these systems, you probably need a mental model for how they actually reason their way through problems. I mean, how does an agent go from a vague bug report to a perfect piece of code? It's not magic, there's a process. And that process is called the OODA loop. Observe, orient, decide, and act. It's a continuous cycle. When it's debugging, an agent will observe the error, orient itself by figuring out what's causing it, decide on a fix, and then act by implementing that fix. And then it observes the result of that action and starts the loop all over again and again until the problem is solved.
This new way of working doesn't just change your day-to-day workflow, it fundamentally rewrites the entire economics of software development.
I mean, the economic impact is just stunning. A pretty typical feature might take around 140 hours of development time in a traditional workflow. In an AI-orchestrated model, where the human is focused on direction and review, that time drops to just 33 hours. You're not working less, you're just focusing all of your energy on the highest value stuff.
But the real power here comes from the compounding effect. After 10 features, the traditional approach has taken 400 hours of just coding. The orchestrator has spent 100 hours directing, and probably ends up with a higher quality, better documented product because their energy was spent on good judgment, not just typing.
And this is the main thing I want you to take away from all this. This isn't just about working a little bit faster. This is a systemic, fundamental shift in the nature of development work itself. Value is no longer created by just typing code.
So what's the new metric? What's the new scoreboard? In the old world, your value might have been measured by how many lines of code you could churn out. In this new world, your value is directly tied to one thing: the amount of machine intelligence you can direct effectively toward a business goal.
Which, of course, leads to the final critical question. If that's the new measure of value, what skills should you be focused on building, like right now?
The old skill stack was all about the how, mastering syntax, learning frameworks, knowing algorithms. The new stack is all about the why and the what, breaking down big problems, validating quality, analyzing constraints. Now, you still need to understand code to direct the AI and check its work, but you're just not spending most of your day writing it line by line anymore.
So the ground has completely shifted. A developer's value is no longer measured by the code they can personally write, but by the intelligence they can effectively orchestrate. And the only question left to ask is, are you ready for that shift?